Oh boy, that has been a day and a half. Let me tell you that. So I do apologize. I know that I promised I would have been here at 10 o'clock, but I forgot that I had a wedding to be. And that took up a good majority of my day. I genuinely just got home, if you couldn't tell, by the fact that I've still got a loose tie and dress shirt on. I genuinely walked in the doors, came up here, turned on the computer, and started the stream. It it's one of those types of days. It was a very good wedding. It's for a family friend. Very nice. It was a very nice experience, especially seeing someone that you grew up with get married and move on with their life. It's always, one of those coming of age moments. But yeah, like I said, I I, I got home. I I did take my pants off. I switched into shorts because I don't like dress pants. But I got home and I got immediately just came into here, which at this point now I got to go ahead and start launching scrap mechanics. So how is everyone who's in here today? Have you had an eventful day as well? Howdy, Sharp. How are you doing today? Sorry that I'm late to the stream. Oh boy. Just give me a moment to get scrap mechanic launched and we'll be right on in. We're gonna continue on. I'm doing good. I don't know if you heard. I just got back from a wedding. I had completely forgotten that it was happening, so I was not able to make the 10 o'clock normal start time. I still have the tie and the dress shirt on, but it was a very good wedding, very good family friend. So we're gonna continue from where we left off. Last, where we left off last time, which is building this, the farm out destroyer. Was there cake? There was cake. It was a chocolate cake with a vanilla and a coffee frosting. Uh, Very light, and it was an excellent cake. Very, very good cake. And the frosting was probably some of the best frosting I've ever had. I gotta put this on the lift. So right now I gotta make another one of you. I need to make four. I need to make 3 more wheels, and I need to make 2 more suspension. It was very good, yeah. Of course, it was a smaller cake. You don't want to blow too much money on a super, super large cake. So you don't get too much from it, but you enjoy what you get. Hearts. And make 1 more of these. What is this sitting here? Oh, that's scrap stone block. Okay. So I'm gonna have to... Sharp, is there any other way to get metal apart from going after haybots? I feel like someone mentioned that you can mine metal in the last stream. I don't know if there's ore deposits that you can just find lying around the world or something. You make metal from large... You can mine metal from large rocks with drills. Now, this thing in front of me, is this a large rock or no? Is this just a... Is this only going to give me stone? This large rock. Is this a large rock? I mean, this is a very large rock. I'm going to presume that this is the large rock you're talking about. So then if I guess if I just bring the vehicle over here, I just run it up against this and I should get metal. Or are these... Oh, are these rocks? You can only mine square rocks, not that large. Okay. I guess it's just gonna be a little bit of... what's its face? Testing. Whatever it's called. Trial and error, that's the word. Dear goodness. I'm gonna swing that out so I don't hurt myself. So the first rock that I showed you, okay. We can get metal from this one right here. Oh yeah, would you look at... That looks like metal now, doesn't it? Now if we break this, what does that give us? No, just... that's still stone. Tier 1 metal, not scrap metal. I mean, I need tier 1 metal, so that's fine by me. I can easily get scrap metal from dealing with a bunch more hay bots. Now that's definitely metal right there. Okay. So it just isn't as common as I was thinking it was. Come on. This drill doesn't have enough power for what I'm asking it to do. Also, it doesn't help that I just can't get this thing lined up. Have I ever played Satisfactory? No, I haven't. I have seen the gameplay for it, but it's not a game I've played thus far. I also don't know if my computer could actually handle that. I don't have the most powerful gaming rig as of yet. Keep spinning. I really do need to replace this engine at the front with a more powerful one. You just finished full automation. I've only seen very brief gameplay of that. I don't know if it's entirely my style, but I wouldn't be opposed to checking it out if it ever went on sale. I need to eat. I'm gonna have to get water at some point too. That's fine. You should get it. It's worth $30. I'll have to check the minimum specifications on it, because I am currently also trying to save up for a more powerful gaming rig. So I definitely don't want to be spending too much just on games right now, because every last penny is going to count when it comes to saving up for this thing. Hopefully I'll have it by the end of the year. I say hopefully because college bills and all that kind of stuff are... Oh, hey there, buddy. College bills are a pain. There you go. That up in there. Now that I know that I can get metal out of these, it's going to make it much easier. I'm also going to be able to really improve the farm structure. Actually make it sturdier instead of just keeping it based off of a bunch of tier or scrap wood and tier 1 wood. Come on, let's chop this all down. There we go. Now we've got it. Why don't you make an automated farm with 900 plots? Simple answer, I don't know how to. And that sounds really large. 900 plots. I don't know if we even have 30 as of yet in the current farm. Not to mention, farming is more so what Egg has been doing, so I don't want to mess with their stuff too much. Come on, get up over there. Yeah, there we go. 900 small? Or ours is small? Because I know ours is small. But if you think that 900 is small, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's... Oh my word, I don't even know how you get that. Well, you can make dirt, I guess. What do you even need for all that dirt? Let's drag over all of this. I gotta pull that in. Man, 900 small. I don't want to think about what a large farm is then. What do you even do with all of that, food? 900? I mean, I guess you pack it, and then you use the, use whatever you've got for the trader. Buy dirt from the farmer for 10 carrots per 5. And that's still, yeah, that's a lot. I still do want to achieve my goal of beating a farm bot without using a spud gun. Oh hey, we're dehydrated. I probably should fix that. So for now, I think instead of expanding the farm, I'm going to keep on track with building this newer vehicle. And at the same time collecting resources in order to eventually expand the farm, but also make the farm itself just stronger. Whew. Gotta love some. Is it already 12? Almost 11:46. Gotta love some late night coffee. Let's see, so what can we make now? Offered suspension, I need another round of that. Use tier 3 metal. I remember you said that tier 3 metal is going to can't be broken by hay or by hay or tow bots. I forget if you said tape bots or not as well to go alongside that, but I know that you were saying that a farm bot can still destroy it. Blocks. Need you guys, and I need some water. Which actually, I have the buckets here to go get some water. We've got some metal tier 1. Running down here. Would have to do this at least a couple more times. Hey, okay, so it does include 8 bots. So then how do you deal with the tape bots, or sorry, the farm bots, when you're dealing when you're building a farm that large? Because I assume that you're going to start triggering them at some point. Use a ragdoll system? Okay, so it's pretty similar to what I'm building on this vehicle then. So I gotta make you. What do I need for the tires? For block 1. Okay. So that does mean. Oh wait, I've got some wood sitting here. I don't know if it's. We're gonna be able to make one round of wood block 1s. Well, enough for 1 tire. I'm gonna collect that. I want to raise this guy up. Oh wait, I already put a suspension bit in there. Okay. Then I'll just toss you back here for now. I don't know what I want to do for the suspension design on the backside. I don't think I want to go double wishbone because I'm going to have a lot of ballast on the back, so I might want to go with a more traditional solid rear axle for the load carrying capacity. But that's something I'll have to figure out in a bit. Got all this. Parts. Ah, that's right, I'm short on honeycombs for beeswax, so I can't make this extra tire just yet. Wait, what was I doing? What was the plan? And I already forgot. Ooh, I need fuel. We are out of fuel. I think I have some extra fuel lying around from when I was raiding just last night. Yep. Got plenty of gasoline. So then you're like that. I guess I'm gonna make. I might as well make the extra 4. Or oh, I only need. That's right. I just need 2 more water bottles. in order to make that final suspension piece. So after that, we're done with specifically the shock absorbers. Oh, Shark, a fun little story from the wedding tonight. I'm assuming you've seen bouquet toss, where the bride, all of the single females gather behind the bride. She turns around and she tosses the bouquet behind her. The superstition is that whoever catches it is going to be the next one to be married. So when that rolled around at the wedding we were at, the moment someone caught it, there was just a flash. Some dude, the significant other, bolted out the door. This man did not want to get married at all. And when you get that late into the night, because it's 11 o'clock at this point, everyone's tired. We've been there for 5 hours. It was maybe the funniest thing I'd seen all day. It was genuinely good laugh for that. And we've got the last shock absorber being made. Oh, I got a hay bot over here I can go beat down. Ooh. He's got a few problems. Yeah. Everyone's got a couple of problems. Yeah, he at least came back in, so it was a good little joke. If he ran, didn't come back, that's where the issues come in at. This. And we'll just put this right here. I haven't been actually planting missing person. Oh, yeah. He would have been a missing person, that is right. Should probably plant some stuff. I haven't planted in who knows how long. I'm gonna have to deal with some robots tonight, but that's whatever. All in the name of getting a little bit of extra food. Carrots only? Too late for that. I don't feel like breaking them. Normally not my job to try to remember that. The egg would actually get on. Oh, hey, look at that. 22 seconds. They don't have any... By the way, I have milk in my pocket. Awesome. I thought I was carrying some money. Ooh, who's that? Power Cinder. Thank you for the follow. When will I get on? I think maybe tomorrow. They've had a busy schedule at work, so they haven't been able to get on recently, which is completely understandable, especially when you're working physical labor. You don't want to push yourself too much, 8 hours a day, and then come back and stream for 2-3 hours. It's not the easiest thing on the body. You need to get 8 hours of rest a day. I say as I think over the past week I've had gotten maybe 15 hours. I average about 3 hours of sleep a night. So I don't think I don't have exactly the most room to talk when it comes to getting sleep. It's been wake up, Wake up, go to work for 8 hours, come back, edit a video, or at least try to edit a video, eat, and then at 10 o'clock I come here and I stream for a couple hours and I try to edit another video. Yeah, it shouldn't be impressive. I don't recommend trying to do it. It will very quickly tear down your body. Welcome in, everybody. For those of you who have just joined, I apologize if you perhaps were waiting for me to join or to start streaming earlier. I had forgotten that I had a wedding that I had to be at tonight, so the moment I got back, I immediately started streaming. So how is everybody doing tonight? See, we've got some new people in the chat. Power Seam DR, thank you for the follow once again. How are you doing tonight? Nice pile of cars, thank you. Right now, we are currently trying to design a vehicle specifically to take out a haybot, or sorry, not a haybot, take out a farm bot without using a spud launcher. So I've just had the transport vehicle jacked up like this so I could copy the double wishbone suspension. I did compress it down a little bit to save on material, especially since it's got a little bit of a higher range of motion. I wasn't sure how that was going to play with having a longer arm. But on the backside, I'm looking at trying to do more of a double or a just solid rear axle instead of a dual wishbone. This is Big Poppy, as named by Sharp, the work vehicle. We have no names for transport vehicle or for the farmbot vehicle. So if you have any suggestions, we are free to hearing those in the comments. Nah, we don't have a Discord. Thank you for that, though. Part of the fun of this game is trying to learn how to design things yourselves. Spinny Killy bar car. I think we can go with the SKBC. The Skipik. That'll be the name of that car. So we got Big Poppy, the Skipik, and now we just need a name for the transport vehicle. Yep, Skipik. I gotta find beeswax. So I don't need you jacked up anymore because I've finished the suspension for the front. And I know that there's a stone structure over this way that tends to have beeswax on it. And there might be a few more in the area, but I don't feel like driving Mother Loader 1.0. The Mother Loader 1.0 I feel like would have been a better name for Big Poppy. Or at least it would have fit that style of vehicle more than it does the transport vehicle. I'm gonna need to make sure that my respawn point is set on this vehicle. It was not before, and we died last stream. And it was a incredibly stressful time trying to get back to the vehicle, not knowing if it was still there, which thankfully it was. For some reason the farm bots decided not to destroy it. See, I think it's you right here that tends to have some more beeswax on you. No, nothing on this one. Disappointing. We will have to go further up the road then. On the road again. I'm hoping to get this rear suspension design done tonight. That's the goal for this stream, is get the wheels, design the rear suspension, and if we have the time to, beeswax. If we have the time to, we're going to try to start laying out the plan B to this vehicle, which is the hammer. Plan A is launch the haybots up into the air. Plan B is going to be hitting them with a hammer, swinging down to stun them if Plan A fails. So that's going to be a completely different can of worms when it comes to designing that, getting that counterbalanced, making sure that the back end doesn't swing up whenever we do launch it. I was thinking of maybe a crankshaft design, similar to what you, actually not even similar, but essentially just copying what you see in an internal combustion engine, where it has the counterweight attached onto the piston itself, and it just rotates opposite of the piston. So perhaps something similar could work in this sense, or we might go with a more traditional trebuchet sort of style. I'm not sure. I'd have to actually look at how to design that, because I don't study trebuchets at all. Technically, I don't even study internal combustion engines. I deal with circuits and robotics and that form of stuff, not materials and physical stuff, but I have enough knowledge from the 3D space that I had to learn. Yeah, that's the key word, is that it might work. And if it doesn't work, it's fine. It'll be plenty of fun watching it fail. So I should have enough to make a second wheel. Actually, I have enough to make 2 wheels. A great start to this. So we've got 2 wheels crafting. I'm gonna need to start making some more of these guys. I think I'll just need 4, hopefully. Hopefully. How do I want to lay out this? So I want them to connect. Robotics, did you create an exact replica of a 9-foot tall workable farm bot? No, I did not. I don't deal with as much physical robotics as I do with programming, some of the machine learning on my college campus. Alongside, there is some physical work done, which I did want to get more into the Lego side of Lego, quote unquote, the building side of things, but where I wanted to go more so fell in line with coding. So I just deal with a lot of C++ to no end. It's, oh my word, C++. Probably one of the strongest languages that there is, but when you're just getting into coding, it's also one of the most difficult languages to learn, just by the nature of one, it's a relatively old language. It's based on C, so it's not as new as something like JavaScript. So it does have a lot of outdated lingo and sort of what's its face, uh, just variables. It's been it's summer. I don't need to think about what I need to call everything. But yeah, everything's a lot older on that. So, for example, when I took a class on front end, what's his face? His best friend knows that he helped me make an exact replica the size of 4 foot tall tote bot. That is a huge tote bot. That had to have been a very expensive build. It's a lot of servos too. You got a head servo. You're gonna need a servo at every single joint, and they're gonna have to be pretty strong servos. Unless, of course, it only the head moves and like an arm moves up and down. At that point, you might need a stepper motor instead of a servo. Those are going to run you like $120 at least on every single one. I don't do anything. Yeah, we don't really do anything that large scale on campus. We tend to focus on a lot smaller of things. So, for example, we have a delivery drone service on campus once a year, in which the students have to create an AI that receives information and drops off a package from a beacon pickup point and delivers it outside one of the campuses to another, not one of the campuses, one of the buildings, to a designated beacon drop off point. So that's a lot of GPS signaling, connecting to the internet. It was like $5,000. There's a workable electric whip. We made it mostly made it out of cheaper things, but it works. So long as it works, man. That sounds like a really fun build. That. This. Are they sitting too low? Why are they sitting so low? Put them on the wrong level. Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, C++. If you learn it, if you can get good at C++, every other language is going to come almost naturally to you. And on top of that, if you can get good at C++, you're going to get hired anywhere when it really comes down to it. If you can be that person with 5 years of C++ knowledge coming out of college, you're going to have a defense contractor all over you. Working on a workable haybot that can possibly rake up leaves for us. So are you going to define the... You would need to define the bound... I mean, defining the bounding box, it's not that hard. You just take a GPS signal and essentially create an invisible fence for it to follow. But raking is going to be difficult because it's not going to know where the leaves are exactly. Because there's not a leaf sensor that C++ works with. Things like if you were to say it drives through the leaves and cuts them up, that's a different story. But raking a leaf is not something that I would really think you have a robot doing, nor would I see how exactly you do that using any of the normal sensors unless you're going to control it via um, a controller. Where does this need to go? Go here. That's there. I wanted to delete that. Oh, that fell. Yeah, so you can go there. Erase that up. So we don't need all that. We just need. I want 2 of these, right? I want to put. We're gonna do that. Take this. Display graphics. Medium. Like that. Run its own AI engine to know and possibly predict where leaves are and where they will end up. I mean, that's going to change on such a wide variety of things, such as rain, wind, cold. I mean, any precipitation is going to make things stop, and they're going to just lay flat on the ground. If they're dry and it's windy, they're just going to get blown either onto your yard or off of your yard or outside of the bounding box of where it could be, but it could still be in your garden or something, not in the yard. So logistically, I don't know if that's really worth it. If you can make that, I don't see the value in that compared to spending an hour, 2 hours just raking up some leaves. For the engine, you're still gonna have. I mean, you're gonna have to teach it. So if you were to carry it around and you put it in a spot and you're raking leaves and you say you add a point and you say rake leaves here at this time with these conditions, then maybe it'll come back to that spot in order to rake leaves. But then you're gonna have to be monitoring it to say it comes back there tomorrow and there's no leaves. You're gonna have to say, well, in these conditions there was no leaves there. And so then it's going to say, oh, okay, so in dry, windy conditions there were leaves here, but in wet, no wind conditions there was no leaves here. And so then if it's able to check against the internet to see if it's dry and windy, it's going to go back to that location. But if it's wet and not windy, it's not going to go to that location. But even then, it's not going to know if it's got all the leaves. It can go over there and perform raking action, but then it's not going to know if it's got all the rate. If it's actually pulled in everything with the raking action, it could be a foot off, it could be dead on. This. Do that. here. Wait, I need to get rid of these. Man, my stream is eating up a lot of memory. I've been watching it slowly climb. When I first started streaming, it was only at 3.1. We were up to 3.7 last stream, and we're sitting at 4.9 gigabytes of memory used right now. And if that's VRAM, that's almost all of my RAM. I wonder, can I save a bit of VRAM? Turning off this. Good points, we're still planning on boundary bots and rig size and shape. Look as accurate to a haybot as possible while still having functionality. So from an aesthetics point, I definitely say go ahead and do it, because it does sound just like a lot of fun to do. Logistically, I think it might be more difficult to pull off than first appears, because you're getting into almost deep learning territory, which I tried getting into that when I first started going to college, and that just went straight over my head. I think I looked. But yeah, that stuff went straight over my head, so I don't really have anything apart from a cursory knowledge on that as to how what's face. I don't have anything apart from cursory knowledge as to how you would go about making sure it knows. Obviously, you can insert things such as rake size and all of that into its settings, so it does know. It's like the missile meme. The missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't, and subtracting from where it isn't with where it is, or where it is from where it isn't, it knows where it will be. That's essentially the same logic that you're using there. By subtracting the location of the rake from where it isn't, it knows how much space it needs to rake. So logistically, that does work. You could taking the area of the rake and taking it against the area of the yard, some sort of formula, I'm sure. Or if you set a bunch of like sweeping lines or paths going up and down the yard, I'm sure that it would be able to deal with that properly. Let's just, I'm 100% just zooming in this. It would definitely be able to. You could definitely do it if you set like a lawnmower pattern of racing stripes going up and down the yard, avoiding things such as, so you've got obstacles you got to watch out for. Do you have any above ground sprinklers in the yard? Do you have any bushes? Do you have any trees? You don't want to start raking up your mulch. It's another thing that you're going to have to figure out the pressure, because in wet surfaces, the leaves are going to be way heavier than they're going to be in on a dry day. So you're going to have multiple different pressure settings for this for the haybot, so it knows if it needs to be giving it more beans, less beans, if it's giving the right amount of beans, stuff like that. All things to just consider with that project. One of my freshman year, I took It was a JavaScript. Yeah, it was a JavaScript class. Um, Essentially, it was to get you used to coding in a different language with less strict guidelines. To your friends who are working on it are 13. We have a trampoline and sprinklers, so we just draw out a map and tell it what path to follow or something. Again, that's in a more of an area that I'm not too sure on, specifically with the GPS stuff. I've only dealt with drones going from beacon to beacon, um, and we never had to really deal with going around anything because you could just set the drone to clear a flight path over all the buildings, which is more efficient than having it fly low, down through around buildings, down by power wires, trees, all that sort of stuff. So I haven't dealt with specifically telling it to avoid areas. My when I was at county college, my professor, I know he had a GPS drawing of his entire plumbing system. He would, oh my god, that guy was so smart. He wanted to build a boat dock, so he, as he put it casually, marked out all of his plumbing lines, his electrical lines, his cable lines, all of that stuff, and just overlaid it onto Google Maps. And he was able to take that to an architect, and he was like, "Yeah, so I want to build a boat ramp. Here's the information for where everything is. How long do you think it would take us to build this?" That guy, oh my word. The fact that he was teaching at a county college, he should have been somewhere else. He's got a talent. He could have been really making some big bucks instead of sitting around teaching us. I'm sure there's probably at this point a program that you can overlay. How would I put this? Oh my word! I also just realized I forgot to water these. Good job, me. Yeah, I'm sure that there's a program that you could use where you could essentially color parts that you want the robot to explore, and you could set areas that you don't want it to go to. Because I know that there's Roombas or something similar that will cut your grass, and I think that's how it works. Is that you define an outer boundary, and then you have a couple of no-go zones. But if there's something like that available to the public, that I don't know about. So now these should actually start growing after 2 whole days of forgetting that they weren't watered. Better late than never. Maybe we'll just program one and use trial and error to figure it out. I mean, yeah, that's always an option. And especially then, because you can make sure that if you spend time actually developing your own to work specifically with your GPS system and your internet, whatever you're using to read from the GPS and the internet, is what I'm trying to say. If you create your own program, you have a lot more control and fine tuning than using a pre-built program. Obviously, this is going to be a lot of R&D time. I would estimate. I don't know how good your friend is. But if you have a busy schedule, this could be maybe, I would say, at least 3 months long of trying to design and get that working. If you have a relatively busy schedule and you can't dedicate 10 hours a day to coding that. So it's a, you're on the, I would say if you can do it, then there's no point in not. Because if you can also you can use that to put on your resume and you can show companies that would be huge for them to see that, hey, we can create a program to tell a robot where to rake a yard and what to avoid. And they're going to see that and they're going to be like, these kids got some talent. You have a very lenient schedule, then maybe if both of you have a lenient schedule, it could maybe take you a month and a half to get a decently working program down. Depends on how well you get your rough draft going. Because if you mess up somewhere in your rough draft, it's going to take more time. If you 100% nail it perfectly on your rough draft, then it takes however long that rough draft of a coding program takes. You're also going to have to probably have a server running for that program. So either you have to buy one or you have to leave a computer running in order to keep that code constantly updating and feeding to your robot. I don't know if there's, I would assume there's probably a server attachment at this point that you could put into something, not to mention that. I mean, obviously, you're going to have the internet attachment on the Haybot in order to check the weather schedules because you also don't want the Haybot to get caught out in the rain and then ruin the circuits because it's a very open concept design. The Haybot is. So you're going to have a lot of exposed wires and circuits. You don't want to do that. So that's just another thing to think about is that you're going to need to keep, if you have this thing running, your computer or laptop, whatever you're using to speak to the robot, is going to have to be keeping that program open at all times. And if it closes or if your computer goes to sleep or shuts off, the robot's going to stop. I don't actually know if this design's going to work. Because normally this, unless I just go around there, maybe? Box. I'm going to have to use some of the scrap metal in order to make another batch of metal block 1. Oh, it's getting late. 12:30 already. I've only been streaming for 59 minutes. Oh boy. The issues of starting late. Yeah, let's see. Parts. We want to craft a couple of you guys. I need to craft more of these. Okay, so like make an area on my laptop to run it, and basically make an area to store this robot where there's no rain or snow, and it's safe to store, and run a system to make the program run a haybot that rakes up the leaves for you. That's the concept. Obviously, the concept is going to be a lot more simple than actually R&Ding and producing this thing. But if this is what you want to do, I highly encourage you to go ahead and do it. Take that. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna come over there, and then we're gonna go down with that. You want to be an engineer when you grow up. Do you think if I learned how to do this by yourself, then I wouldn't need to go to college? So that's difficult. Obviously, going to college, getting the degree is always going to look good on paper, but it depends on what you want to go to college for. For example, if you want to go to college to be an engineer and you just want to make a lot of money, your best bet is to get into a military defense contract. So someone like Lockheed Martin and all them, that's where the big bucks are going to be at. And they hire like crazy. Like I was at my uh, job fair on campus, and they were offering internships to second year students who had hardly gone through any of the more specialized engineering classes. But another option for you is going to be look at what trade schools you have around you, because there might be a trade school who deals specifically in what you want to do, whether that's on more of a physical end or more of a coding end. That's going to normally be a lot cheaper, and you will avoid all of the BS college stuff, like having to do 3 semesters of a language, having to do history, having to do English. You'll avoid all of that, and you'll get to focus on your maths, your physics, um, and anything else within specifically your specialized field. Now, if you turn out to be a genius at this and you can crank out a Haybot in 3 days and the program and everything, and you go to Lockheed Martin and you'd be like, look at what I did in 3 days, they would probably be like, we want to hire you. So it's all about where you are in life. Obviously, at 13, you're going to be you're a little far off from that, but it's not a bad thing to be thinking about. Yeah, I want to make this actually one higher, don't I? Okay, so I gotta change this up real quick. Oh, great. So now they're gonna be in the way of that. We're gonna have to raise these guys up. We're gonna go with what do we do here? Gonna take you, do that and that. Connect this across. What you're saying is to learn how to do it, then work on learning more about the AI system and how to create different robots for different jobs and slowly get better at it. Better at it, that out and get a really good head start, get a good job at a young age. My advice is do what you think is best for you. Obviously, if what you think is you want to focus on this now and see if you can get a head start in your career, then that's your call to make. No one else can tell you whether you can or can't do that. Just all I'm saying is that you want to make sure that you put yourself in the best position to have a good future. So whether that's seeing if you can create a breakthrough product at a young age or committing to a college or university where you know you're going to get a within your field you're going to get a quality education, but you're going to have to deal with a lot of things such as expensive college bills. You're going to have to deal with a lot of BS classes and stuff. Or do you go for a trade school, which at the moment, unfortunately, tend to be looked down upon by higher ed, but thankfully, engineering is not higher ed. Engineering is a bunch more sensible people who are sitting around in a crusty office wishing that they could go home seeing their family. I'm not trying to put you off by saying that. I'm just saying that's a lot of what we do. I have pulled all nighters on campus before trying to make sure I get a project done. But yeah, I mean, it's a field that everyone's gonna need. It's not like engineers are gonna go away at any point. Society's always going to need an engineer, so it's a very stable job. Like that. It all depends on if you want to. Obviously, if you want to just make good money, you go into the defense industry. If you want to go into the civil industry, that's a completely different route. If you want to go into a more mixed bag, robotics is a very good mixed bag because you can end up in uh, either section, working with things on specifically working with AI, because things as simple as a traffic camera uses a, I'm gonna call it a dumb AI. Basically, it's if there's a vehicle that rolls up, it'll trigger the countdown for the light to change. So that's a dumb AI. A smart AI is a lot more complicated. You start getting, like I said before, you start getting into deep learning with smart AIs, and that's not something I've studied. So, if you did go into the defense industry for robots and made a robot to defend the military, kind of like a mech, would that make good money or probably not? At the current moment, oh, there's haybots. At the current moment, mechs aren't. You're not seeing mechs. Oh my god, I'm gonna end up dying here. You're not seeing mechs sort of lining up in where the military's going. They don't seem to have a place on the battlefield as of yet. There are exoskeletons that they're looking at utilizing, but that's all they are. They're just exoskeletons, but those are so heavy and expensive, and they're practical, but practical only in the sense that you just help someone carry more things. And if you have to make one of those for every single foot soldier, why not just make a truck? And sure, a truck's a bigger target and it can be taken out, but it also can provide cover and it can hold a lot more than just a simple. Put this back in order. Than just a simple exoskeleton. So I don't think if you want to be making mechs, that the defense industry is currently the place you should be looking at. I actually don't think there's really a market for mechs anywhere. But there is space for, is it Boston Technologies? I think it's Boston Technologies, the people who made the robot dog, and they specifically started making the mechs that I think you're most thinking of, which is why that's, if you're thinking of the Boston Tech mechs, that's how I know that they're not really being looked at by the military, because a lot of that is price to performance. What you see a lot more within the AI realm is connecting cameras to a virtual system. For example, the F-35 essentially turns the helmet of the pilot into a VR system, where if you look down, you don't actually see a cockpit. You just see there's a bunch of cameras set up on the bottom side of the aircraft, so that way you can see straight through, because one of the biggest problems with an aircraft is that you have very limited field of vision. So the cameras all around the vehicle really help with that. Oh man. I should probably just use these circuit boards to build more walls out of. I'm not sure how Egg got those facing that way, but they will just have to deal with the fact that these face this way. Basically, mechs aren't currently on the market, so you should probably stick with the haybots and the towbots, you know. I mean, even then, I don't see the general public appeal to have a haybot or a towbot is, because even still, you see Roombas, for example, are the closest thing to what you want to make. And even then, you still see people. One of the main reasons that they don't get a Roomba is that they still are just so expensive when compared to a vacuum. And they also have their issues with, um, what's his face? With mapping. It's a relatively smart system. Essentially, just uses what's his face? I think it uses some sort of not lidar, but I think a laser scanner in front of it. Either a laser scanner or a black and white scanner, maybe light scanner, to determine when it's going to run into something, and if that exceeds color value whatever, then yeah, it's going to stop and turn around. I think there might be some virtual mapping so that way it doesn't go off of a cliff, but I don't own a Roomba, so I can't confirm or deny that. But then again, one thing I have learned from being in college, one of the takeaways my professor gave me, I do believe that it uses a mapping system. That would make sense for it to. It adds a nice level of redundancy. But one thing that at my current college, not my county college, one thing my professor told me was, I don't remember it word for word, but it goes along the lines of, you need to be in the mindset of you are smarter than the general public. It's up to you to show them why you're so smart to have made this because they need it. Because without it, they can go on living their lives as is. Their lives don't change if you don't make it and make them want it. Sort of like the iPhone. You don't need the iPhone, but Steve Jobs was so good at convincing you that you needed the iPhone, and that's why it blew up. Same thing, I mean, even with a dishwasher, you don't need a dishwasher, but you convinced whoever made it convinced people that the time spent, the time and energy and water bill that you were saving was worth spending money on a dishwasher. And now, when people look at homes, they look specifically, does it have a dishwasher? Same thing with a washer and dryer. People go, Is there a washer and dryer in there? That's a make or break for some people because they don't want to have to go to a laundromat. Whoever made the laundry and the washer and dryer, convinced people that they needed that product. So that might be your goal, is to convince, maybe you could convince people that they need the product, or alternatively, you could convince people that they need the service. So if you make the Haybot and it's successful on your lawn, what's stopping you from going over to Mr. Johnson's door, Mr. Johnson next door, and being like, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, I know you paid Jimmy two doors down $50 to rake your yard. I can do it for 40. Just let me use this robot." And if you undercut your opposition, you can then convince him that he needs this service. And maybe he'll also find some novelty in the fact that he's the first person to have a robot raking his yard. People don't need it, but convince people. Yeah, that's what our society is built off of. Apart from the fundamentals of life, such as food, shelter, even shelter at this point, people are convinced that they need it. The American dream is a great example of that. Because if you look in other countries, you see a lot of small housing, multifamily housing. But the American dream, that white picket fence and the backyard, that convinced an entire country that's what they needed. Because they were told by people who said that they were smarter, that's what you do. So you can have, if you position yourself correctly, you can have generational lasting effects on an entire society. That's how powerful those words can be, convincing people that they need it. Craft these two. So I'll just use these guys here. Doesn't really matter. I guess I need to come down, right? So I should actually set you guys up like this, right? So we can then come out. Craft two more of those. I'm gonna need to put you in my inventory. I'm gonna have a lot of welding to do here. So say you made that same robot, but with a raking arm and a lawn mowing arm. I would just need to convince people that they need the service because it's cheaper than little Johnny down the street. Yeah, precisely that. That's the that is the gist of innovation right there. If you can convince someone that you can do something for cheaper, or that if they need your service, that is innovation. Active. Can I make two? I can make two. Looks like we're gonna actually get to test out this suspension on the vehicle to make sure it works. Interactive. I don't have enough for you. I also don't have the crude oil for it. But that shouldn't be too hard to go out and just collect some more metal blocks from the stone. Make sure that's connected. Yeah. All of this is connected. I'm gonna have a moment of truth here. I need to see if this thing actually squats or if we just made a completely useless suspension. We made a useless suspension. Okay, let's see. I'm going to think because when I use a small basic weed whacker for an arm, you could. My only concern is that you don't want to go too small. And when you're talking about something that precise, like the only people who use the Roomba robot are going to be people who have a large base that needs to be covered, and either they don't want to pay for someone to cut their grass or they don't want to spend the time themselves cutting their grass. It's a very weird thing. Obviously, it has its purpose. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, this isn't even connected on this side. Whoops. Okay. Then let's come over here and remove all this. Let's see if this works now. Nope. So this still doesn't. That still doesn't connect like I want it to. So, let's see. What happens if I drop the stiffness on both of you guys? Ooh, actually, what might solve it is lowering. Wait, hold on. So the difference is that you can't extend past that, I guess. Let me see. Perhaps put this on the lift. So you can compress there. Now I wonder if just moving these guys in fixes it? Maybe it doesn't. I get the feeling it won't, but it's worth a shot. But going back to what I was saying, I completely lost track. Um, yeah, you're gonna lose some precision when it comes to that. You're also gonna have to account for any elevation changes. So if you're on a yard that is either hilly or on a slope, you're gonna have to probably play to that with the programming, because if you don't, the AI is going to make uneven cuts going across the yard, and obviously that's going to lose your customers if their yard looks horrible. And having something small like a weed whacker is only going to further compound that, because of the fact that it's going to be more obvious when there's multiple passes where height differences are. So that didn't work. Let's lower this. I just forget. Oh, I might have just forgotten to do this with it. Connect those guys up. Yeah. So that does work. The only thing is that I want to further lower these guys one more. That way we get more compression within the shock absorbers. But other than that, this is a working prototype. We're gonna see if this works, or if we need another set of. Yeah, I think we would need another. Oh, I pinned myself in. I did. Yeah, we would need another set of bearings here in order to get that working properly, because it's got two different types of torsion on it, which is, I think, now that I finally think I understand how that works, I think that's the issue that I was running into before, was the different types of torsion. Gotta do that. Oh, that actually does less now. Okay. So we need to take this back off, and we need to go higher with this. We're here before. We go all the way up here now. Bam, bam. Gotta remove just that. Gotta come up. Add you. Do that. Connect those up. And then we just gotta copy this over here. Woo! Oh, we've got a raid? Do we? Or are you saying to raid someone? Oh, Jesus Christ, that's what you're saying. That raid. I'm over here thinking you're talking about like a Twitch raid. And I start looking at studio, not realizing it's this raid. Oof. That could have gone more poorly. I will admit, I lost track of what time it was in game. These circuit boards actually might have just saved the day when it came to this. Yeah, seriously, thank you, Shark. I was completely unaware of what time it was in game. Also, welcome to the chat. Yo, suck it. Is that how you say it? Yo, Suzuki. Oh, Yo, Suzuki. Yo, suck it. Oh, my word. It's getting too late in my time zone. Oh, let's see. So the sweet spot we had before was 1 here. We want to come back down. I guess the only way we could improve this is to get more width on the tires. I completely did zone out. Yeah, I've been trying to stream a lot of scrap mechanic. It's I've been getting a lot of help from everyone who's ever come into the chat. Learned a lot of things from Sharp specifically. It's been a lot of help. Today we've been talking a lot more about just engineering and stuff because Sharp has been saying that he wants to go into the engineering field, so I've tried to give him just a little bit of insight. And that's partially the reason why I was so zoned out. Oh wait, are you... They might be blocking that from... It's actually surprising to see that it's so rare, because it looks like it was, when I checked the categories, it looked like it would be a pretty successful category. Definitely need... I need to extend the upper arms outwards. And I think I want to bring that down one. Maybe if I can get more bearings to toss in there so I can get a bit of artificial height. And made as like a form of anti-dive, that might work. One day is the keywords there. One day. I honestly didn't even know that there was gonna be an update coming out. I don't keep up with that stuff in the gaming world. So I want to, at this point, I just need to make sure I get rid of all of this because they're just going to be in the way. Gotta come out this way. Do that. No, wait, that's one too high. Trashbot Wars? I'm sorry. What is this update about? Because clearly I'm way uninformed about what's happening. I'm not sure that's working. I think that's gonna need another. Let me tear this apart. Oh, there's gonna be a new boss? I haven't even fought a farm bot yet. And that popped it straight up, so it doesn't look like this suspension design's really working. Yeah, I mean, I obviously did that for the transport vehicle because I normally try to play with another streamer, an unusual egg. They've just been really busy with their actual work schedule, so I've been streaming on my own for now. Um, but in order to get us going, I did just do the double wishbone suspension on the transport vehicle. Thank you for the follow, Yo Suzuki. Yeah, we're trying to do a whilst we're waiting for Egg to finally get back onto a normal schedule. We're trying to build a vehicle that can take out a farm bot without using a spud launcher. So the current concept that I brainstormed with, I think it was Bratkarf last night. Oh no, it was Bodger. I brainstormed it with Bodger last night. Is we're gonna have two large wheels spinning here to try and throw the farm bots into the air, and if that doesn't work, we're also designing a hammer that will swing down at the front in order to deal damage to them. But I need to load down the back side of the vehicle with a lot of counterbalance. So instead of going with a double wishbone suspension, which I did at the front, but I compacted it down slightly, I'm trying to make a solid rear axle that still gets a good, decent bit of travel with some arms. But obviously, I don't want to just go for a double wishbone suspension on that. I'm gonna put this back on a. I mean, if spinning's good and crushing's good, then why not do both? That's what we're doing. We need some more scrap metal for some haybots. Normally a good chunk of them sitting out back here. Make a ram hammer that launches bots. We discussed that yesterday, but what's his name? Bodger said that it was going to be a lot simpler to put the wheels at the front and then save the resources for a hammer solely. Oh, that's a lot of them. Save the resources for a hammer solely for the one that comes swinging down. Oh, that hurt. Ow. Woo. I got my heart rate up a little bit. Hey, some free component kits though. I asked for haybots and I received. Make the hammer out of concrete so it's heavy. I was toying around with the idea of metal 3 because I think that's more durable. And I wasn't sure about weight versus how much damage it's going to take from hitting something. So I could definitely put concrete behind it, but I still want to put a head of metal on it. And then alongside that, I need to I want to turn the front of this into a metal 3, basically armored head. That way we get a bit of protection from the farm bots, and also so that way the whole thing doesn't collapse the moment we get into a fight. So I've got that. I need to go make some more interactive. Basically a termite. I guess it looks like a termite, yeah. Blocks. We're gonna make another one of these so we can make some more pipe pieces. So you go there. You're gonna attach onto that. Where am I missing? Maybe it doesn't need to be on that one, but it needs to be on this one instead. Maybe that's the key to that piece of suspension. Termite heads are super strong whilst the bodies are weak and squishy. Then yeah, basically just like a termite. Oh yes, okay, so the suspension just was really high. So this actually works perfectly. Look at that. We've got ourselves a working suspension here. Obviously, I still have to stress test it with putting a load on the back. But this is a pretty promising start to this. Just make 2 of them. I think I only need 1. The more I mess around with the bearings in this game, the more I get a concept of what works and what doesn't. So let me see, I need to break this one. Put you there. Insert you again. And then we're gonna basically turn you off. It's not a full compression for that. And yeah, actually, once I connected both sides, it actually has that sag to it that I was looking for instead of just being straight vertical. Yeah, that's huge. I'm gonna need to test this out at some point. I might just steal the engine off the transport vehicle. Let's see, what do we need here? That. Gonna actually come back here. I need that piece. Thank you. Back you on there. Do that. And just toss back on there. You have to go. See you later, Sharp. You have a great rest of your day. That's nice and settled. I gotta come over here. I gotta take that. You come up, right? No, that's not right. You're not facing the right way. Let me just raise this up, make it easier. Do that. And basically you just take that. Let me go grab some milk. Ooh, actually, let me just take a veggie burger. Oh, I love veggie burgers. Collect that, and I think I need to make 2 more of you, and I need to make another 2 bearings. We have you. Connect you all the way up. Back over to this. Collect. Okay. Goes there. Oh, I have a bearing on me. Perfect. That goes there. And we spin that outwards. Collect that. Put you on there. And take my last big wheel. Yeah. And then just to make sure that this works, let me lower the... Oh yeah, I can see the suspension moving. Cool. So long as we have that little bit of arm movement, I know that the suspension's actually working, and I don't have to test it out. I'm gonna have to work on covering up this rear suspension though, because I don't want this to get damaged. That's the sole reason on the transport vehicle that it's still running, because last stream, if you weren't here, I got jumped by 4 A-bots that respawned over at one of the trapped farmers, and it did not end well for me. Go figure that getting jumped doesn't turn out too well for me. But yeah, by the time I made it back to the vehicle, they hadn't managed to destroy it because they couldn't get through to the suspension. am gonna need to go get more wood, more metal. How much stone do I have? 'Cause I need to go repair this thing. Because Egg's not gonna be happy with me. I'm gonna be going. I'll be back another stream. Thanks for streaming this game, one of your favorites. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great rest of your day. I'm gonna reinforce that with a bit of stone. Do that over here. Do this. Let me see. It's current. Ooh, yeah, it's currently 1:27. So to anyone left in the stream, I believe I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits here for the night. I hope you all have a great night, and I hopefully will see you again. Probably not tomorrow. I've got somewhere to be late at night, but I think hopefully Sunday. Have a great night, y'all.